Hello trader, looking at XAUUSD from multiple time frame perspective, we can see that this instrument after the weekly open, the price initially dropped to that support level, and then yesterday we saw a sharp rejection back to the upside again. Currently the market on the lower time frame potentially giving us another trading opportunity. Now, before we look at further lower time frame to see how we can find new trading opportunity, first let's look at bigger picture, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in this market. So looking at gold from the monthly, we can see that this is the monthly price section, which is a very strongly bull market after previous monthly back to back two doji. Now this two monthly doji that we can see still maintaining series of higher high and higher low, which is a continuation of long term uptrending market structure. Followed by this month, we can see the market from this monthly support level has made it initial bounce. As with the new monthly open during the NFP, we can see the market has made its initial move back to the upside here. Now we can see that as there were two monthly rejection here back to back, two long week candles representing there has been selling pressure here. Therefore, what I think this month the market might try to push back down here, and potentially it could try to test this monthly support level, which is an important monthly level, and therefore expecting XAUUSD potentially to push back down here to create a new lower low. Now, if we look at the weekly perspective here, though, as we discussed, this is a long term bull market. Currently, the market is trying to pull back down here, and previous weekly candle was a green bullish candle in this back to back. After 2 weeks of drop, this week we can see the market has made its move back to the upside with a stronger bullish momentum. Now, this week we can see that as expected, once the market opened, the bulls couldn't create a new higher high. We saw that after initial pullback of this previous weekly long week, XAUUSD initially dropped here from this level to the downside here. And yesterday we saw that after this drop, there was a reaction from this level to the upside, and the market has tested this high and again trying to push back down here. Now, as we are expecting on the monthly for the price to potentially break this monthly low, which is also the weekly support level, what I think this week we might see further downside here on gold, and from this level expecting XAUUSD potentially drop down here to this support level. Now, dropping down to the daily to see a little clearer picture, that we can see from the daily time frame here, we can see the market back to back 2 days the prices crossed that two daily high, and yesterday's daily candle was a sharp long week candle, a doji. Now there is a potential now a weak fill of that daily doji, as today's price, if we closely look at the high of this daily candle, is quite significant. As if we look at back to back 3 days, we can see the market has made series of lower high, followed by today the price has crossed both of these daily high, and then we see the market now getting a rejection, which is in a London session now, and still we have NY session remaining. And what I think now for the market to potentially come back here to fill that daily doji and come back here to grab the liquidity and potentially drop back down to create a new lower low in this market. So from the monthly, weekly and daily, we could see potential downtrending market structure here. Now from the 4 hour chart here, we can see that this market, this is the 4 hour bearish engulfer here with a longer more than almost 1.5 ATR bearish engulfer here, followed by we can see that there was a reaction from this level directly back to this key level of resistance. And now from the resistance we saw a doji, which is a clear rejection from this higher price, followed by now this session candle closing in 1 hour 15 minutes from this time of recording, and we can see that it's also forming a bearish engulfer crossing this Doge's high, which is also the daily high that you can see. The market has grabbed enough liquidity for this potential drop back down here to this support level. And as we are looking at the higher time frame, that bias is bearish. On the lower time frame, we can see the price action is showing bearish confirmation here. So for the potential entry opportunity, if we look at this 15-minute chart here on XAUUSD, we can see a visible head and shoulder pattern formation here. And with that visible head and shoulder pattern formation on XAUUSD, we can see there's a head and shoulder in that area, and also there's a head and shoulder in this area, so giving a possibility for XAUUSD to potentially continue to downtrend here. So therefore, in that area, as we can see here, is also a very important key level of support, expecting XAUUSD potentially continue to trend back down here to this support level. So this is where, as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity on XAUUSD, we will be looking to sell with a high probability trade setup for this potential drop back down with a high probability trade setup. Traders, if you enjoyed this education and analysis, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. Thank you, and I'll see you soon in my next analysis.